Good evening, my little monsters. It's already midnight, and it's time for our story. Tonight, we will not be talking about mere human killers, but about a cosmic, shape-shifting entity, a villain whose very existence is powered by fear. We're talking, of course, about Pennywise, a horror whose story is far more complex than any movie adaptation dares to fully show. You should know that the films based on Stephen King's It are only the surface, a simplification of a deep, terrifying universe. The story of Pennywise, or IT, began approximately 1 billion years ago in the Macroverse, where only one celestial entity, known as the Other, existed. Feeling utterly alone, the Other decided to create two new inhabitants, Matron, the giant turtle, and the shape-shifting creature we know as Pennywise. Pennywise is also referred to as the Deadlights. You remember that moment in the films when Pennywise opens his mouth, and three terrifying orange lights glow deep within? Those deadlights are the purest, most lethal manifestation of IT. Seeing them causes immediate insanity or instant death. Pennywise uses these lights as a psychic weapon to manipulate and utterly break the minds of his victims. Interestingly, only Matron, the turtle, can look at the deadlights and survive. The two original creatures, the turtle and Pennywise, were cosmic rivals. The turtle sought harmony, while Pennywise craved conflict and death. In a cataclysmic event, Matron literally vomited our universe into existence from inside its shell. Pennywise, who feeds on fear, immediately traveled to this new universe to capture his prey. IT crashed onto Earth in a cataclysmic event, like an asteroid, in a small town in Maine called Derry. IT arrived long before humanity was created, lying dormant for millennia, patiently awaiting the arrival of humans. Once mankind emerged, Pennywise began to appear in deadly cycles lasting roughly a little over a year, recurring every 27 years. Why does Pennywise prefer to feed on children instead of adults? It's elegantly strategic. Children are easier to frighten, and their fears are far more specific than those of adults. Consider a child's fear, a clown, a monster, a zombie. Now consider an adult's fear, depression, anxiety, financial ruin. Pennywise cannot effectively shapeshift into an abstract fear. His goal is to capture children by amplifying the specific terrors they feel. The more fear he injects, the more appetizing they become. The earliest documented appearance of Pennywise is recorded in 1715. Most of the recorded cycles have been preserved in the films, often appearing in background scenes where characters are researching Derry's history. You can pause those scenes and see the newspaper clippings detailing these terrifying events. IT's first major victims were the Derry Company, a group of 340 people forming a small civilization near a river. In 1743, every single inhabitant of this small community vanished without a trace. Initial rumors blamed local native populations. Later, when the town was rediscovered and a canal was built, Pennywise began experimenting with his iconic clown form. Why the clown? There are two powerful reasons. A clown is a known figure of entertainment in circuses, a familiar symbol to children, but one that simultaneously generates great fear. Stephen King once said the idea came from merging a fairy tale troll living in the sewers with the idea that children fear nothing more than clowns. The next recorded cycle occurred in 1851. In this cycle, we see the terrifying manifestation of the Deadlights in action when IT influences a man named John Markson to poison his entire family before taking his own life. This raises a crucial question: can Pennywise use other people to kill for him? The answer is a resounding yes. Using others amplifies the terror, ensuring victims die with overwhelming fear, making them even more potent nourishment for IT. As these murders unfold, the adult inhabitants of Derry remain oblivious. Why? Because Pennywise possesses a psychic power that makes adults either instantly forget the atrocities or deny them entirely. This psychic camouflage allows IT to operate with impunity across generations. The subsequent cycle saw escalating chaos. In 1877, 4 victims were found cut into pieces. In 1891, a steel mill was built. We see a photo of the mill's inauguration in the film, and among the attendees is a clown. In 1905, chaos reigned when IT began manipulating people against each other. The owner of a union in Derry, Claude Hero, along with 3 colleagues, were staying at a local hotel. The next day, 3 colleagues were found mutilated in the canal. Hero, wrongly believing a rival committed the murders, went after the man and killed him with an axe. Hero was then arrested and publicly lynched. In the background of this riot, a man performing tricks, undoubtedly Pennywise, is seen jumping around, feeding on the chaos and fear. The following year, widespread animal mutilations culminated in an enormous Easter egg hunt explosion, leaving 102 people dead, 88 of whom were children. In 1929, a violent shooting occurred, with many witnesses reporting seeing a clown participate. In 1930, Pennywise confirmed a new form, a large bird that would later attack one of our main characters, Mike Hanlon. Later, a racist organization set fire to a black jazz club, the Black Spot, with the fire spreading quickly, killing many people inside. The following year, Derry experienced one of its worst floods, ironically coinciding with the construction of Derry's sewer system, the place Pennywise claimed as his home. From that point on, future sightings of IT were always linked to the town's pipes and sewer infrastructure. The story of the first movie begins in October 1957. We meet the brothers, Bill and Georgie. Georgie, 6 years old, wants to play with his boat in the flooded streets. Bill feigns sickness, and Georgie goes alone. The boat is swept down a drain. When Georgie peers into the sewer, he finds a creature, Pennywise, who lures and captures him. Georgie is dead, but Bill and his family believe he is simply missing. Bill, consumed by guilt, becomes the driving force behind the Losers Club, a group of children who have all been terrorized or witnessed IT's horror. Over the course of that summer, IT attacks each member, manifesting their deepest fears. Stanley Uris sees a terrifying painting come to life in his house. Eddie Kaspbrak, the severe germaphobe, sees Pennywise as a decomposing zombie, a monstrously diseased person. Beverly Marsh sees IT as her abusive father. Richie Tozier, the loudmouth, who fears nothing except, you guessed it, clowns. Mike Hanlon is attacked by the giant bird form near the site of the old, exploded steel mill. Bill Denbrough sees IT as his dead brother, Georgie. The Losers Club realizes the truth, IT feeds on fear. By uniting, they discover Pennywise is terrified of their bond. Inside IT's lair, they weaken IT by confronting the creature with their unity. They manage to escape, but they know it is not the end. They make a pact: in 27 years, they will return to Derry if IT ever resurfaces. 27 years later, in 1984, the cycle begins again. The first brutal manifestation involves an incident based on a real-life crime. A gay couple is brutally beaten by local bullies at a festival. One of the men is thrown off a bridge. Pennywise emerges from the water below, biting off a piece of his chest, killing him as his partner watches helplessly. Mike Hanlon, having stayed in Derry and becoming the town librarian, never forgot. He transformed an entire room into an archive of IT's incidents. While his friends who left Derry began to forget, Mike compiled evidence, knowing he had to alert the others to honor their pact. Mike calls each member of the Losers Club, and they return. The successful architect Ben Hanscom, the famous writer Bill Denbrough, who ironically writes bad endings, the cynical comedian Richie Tozier, the risk analyst Eddie Kaspbrak, and Beverly Marsh, who escaped her abusive father only to marry an equally abusive man, all reunite. Only Stanley Urus refuses. Unable to face the trauma again, Stanley tragically takes his own life. In a final letter to his friends, Stanley explains that his decision was made so they would have a better chance of defeating IT without his burden of fear. The remaining losers meet at a Chinese restaurant. The atmosphere is nostalgic until IT delivers them fortune cookies containing grotesque, living messages, eyes, insects, and a message confirming IT knows Stanley is gone. They realize they must revisit their memories to regain the power they had as children. The losers venture back into IT's lair, which has now manifested as a gigantic spider. This is the form their human minds translate the deadlights into. The ritual of Chud is performed again, a psychic battle requiring belief and imagination to shrink the creature. They use elements from their past to show their unbreakable bond and insult IT, forcing the cosmic entity to feel small and mortal. Tragically, during this final confrontation, Eddie sacrifices himself. He lands a critical blow against Pennywise, saving Richie, but the creature fatally impales him. The remaining losers pursue the now shrunken creature and rip out its pulsating heart, crushing it with their hands, finally ending IT's cycle of terror. The film ends with the surviving members moving on, remembering their bond, but free from the dark psychic influence of Derry. Pennywise's story is a chilling reminder of the power of collective imagination, and that true evil can be defeated only when we refuse to let fear, or the lies we tell ourselves, divide us.